Good evening. Welcome back to Books, Travels, History, and Tells channel. I'm CW. I'm the guy stuck in here in my book library. What else would you call it? Ugh. It's August 9th, 2024, and ding dong, the witch is almost dead. That's right. Students, you're going back to school on Monday. Enjoy this last weekend. Get those books all together. Sunrail is also starting August 12th, so I'm going to be going southbound, maybe to Winter Park to have a nice, relaxing lunch while you guys are sweating this. So you're going back to school. Make sure you're familiar with what's going on. That Fabric of the Nation book, AP Psych, Human Geography, Civics, the American Government, U.S. History, Ways of the World, and oh yeah, Economics. Try to get both of them. Yeah, kind of know the difference. Kind of helpful there. I'm going to save you a few minutes, get you started out on the right foot. I want you to know the difference between the two economic courses. Always remember the basis of our society. We are a consumer driven society. We are capitalist. We make things, we buy things. If you need some basic help and I mean some good guidance with a subject like money, and especially if you're older and you're going into college and you're thinking about what do I need? There's three ways you can probably make money. Well, four. If you're fortunate, people leave you money. That's always good. But you can work for money. You can take some money and invest it, or you can own your own business. Remember that when you buy something, because we're a consumer-driven society, you're just making someone else rich and making yourself poor. So consider investment. If you need some more help about this, there's a random guy on YouTube, Jaspreet Singh, Minority Mindset YouTube channel. When you go into this, especially if you go into taking psychology, know what the psyche is. You know where that word comes from. Okay, kind of realize that a bunch of white guys coming over on a boat with Cristobal Colon and four felons. They didn't discover America. Heck, they didn't even. They just made it to the Bahamas and some of the islands in the Caribbean at first. But it was Native Americans that were here, and they probably came in all likelihood from the area around Japan using the ice land bridge from Alaska, from Siberia to Alaska and down here. But yep, that. So try to remember that. As far as world history goes, not so much about the cradles of civilization. Be familiar with the out of Africa theory because I think they're going to push that some and probably should be. Another thing, you can always pick up a copy of Antiquity by Norman Kapoor. Um, Probably get it at your library. It describes how much or how important water cities were, developments by rivers, making dams and such. Later on, as we progress to agricultural means, kind of important to know that. I was thinking about you, so that's all right. So, anyway, for the past two mornings, the National Weather Service has deemed it necessary to page me with a heat index warning. Why 2:30? I'll never know, but it goes until like 6 p.m. So, I know what you're thinking. Hey, dude, you live in Florida. Yeah, I am kind of used to it. I just don't, why are you telling me? I know. I have as much to disagree as the person out of Phoenix, Arizona complains about the global warming. Do you really think it matters living in the desert? Really? I don't think so. I don't think you're going to. So, this is some history for you from a book, and it's not a tale, but it is something. Someone writes and says, how long ago did the last ice age end, and did we just start getting hotter? Sign Al Gore. No, wasn't Al Gore. Just kidding. Al Gore and some kid from Scandinavia is not going to be able to help you with this. I don't do politics except for in the form of history. There's plenty of those channels around. Go somewhere else for that. The question should be, what is an ice age? An ice age is defined as a period of time where the Earth has polar ice caps, too, plural. Note that it's plural. I got up this morning with a heat index warning and 2 polar ice caps. Surprise, doesn't matter what you think, we're living in an ice age and we're just coming out of it. Um, what we're in is consider it doesn't matter what a solar panel salesman tells you, we are coming out of an ice age. And we are in what they consider an interglacial period in between because the ice is beginning to melt because of warmer temperatures, or that can be brought around for a number of things: sun shift, earth shift, use of man's technology and industrial. These periods, this last period of ice we've been in is about 10,000 years old. And they can last sometimes up to 50,000 years. But that's another age, and it's doubtful that it will last 50,000 years. But climate doesn't always get warmer. At the beginning of the 14th century, there was something very noticeable in the climate shift in Europe. It was called the Little Ice Age. According to Brian Fagan, who wrote The Little Ice Age, he is a professor of anthropology out at University of California at Santa Barbara. That because of volcanic eruptions, um, shift in orbit, and GSM, grand solar minimum, meaning that there was less solar activity from the sun, which is our source of power. So there were less sunspots, less solar flares affecting our temperatures. That in the 1300s, they began to experience cooler temperatures that lasted a year, a decade, 300 years. And a lot of things happen. So with this comes more rain, and with cooler temperatures comes shorter growing seasons. And when you have shorter growing seasons, you have shorter supplies. Prices rise, crops are ruined by excessive rain, people die. There are famines like in, let's say, 1315, people die. Horses are working farm animals are slaughtered for food, or it's just too costly to feed them. So this reflects upon a lot of things. The churches, they took it in as a new way to, you know, get people back in because, the end is coming soon. God is mad at you. It's just one of those things. And the weather kept getting cooler. The weather was so cold that sometimes the Arctic ice sheet extended all the way down to Scotland. More than once they saw Eskimos in their kayaks. There is even a story about where some residents of Scotland's one of their islands fighting off a polar bear. Some research, I think Zurich University says that some of the deaths from the Black Plague prior, remember they killed the Black Plague, the bubonic plague, killed anywhere from a third to a half of Europe. And this includes farmers and farm families and clans and communities. So you have acres of farmlands going untilted, going unchecked, returning back to nature. Basically, one of his thoughts is that maybe this contributed to a reverse greenhouse effect and also added to the little ice age. Okay. Be careful what you wish for. Yeah, this global warming is killing me. Some scientists think that in 2030 to 2040, we will be experiencing a new GSM, less and less solar activity. Good for communications. It might lower the temperature because our governments, some governments, not any in Asia, are handicapping business, making certain things where, you know, we've already developed decent electric cars. Most of the other companies are developing electric cars. Of course, it's not truly electrical until you can charge it up from a solar wind or solar panels or windmill driven, but instead you have to use coal fired power plants. I don't think that's quite the way it was supposed to be. So we don't know. Maybe 2030 the temperature will drop back to the way it was in 1950. 2 or 3 degrees less. Something to think about. If you're still with me, remember that the same people that brought you that news also said that where I'm at should be underwater for 20 years now. They were wrong. Next. Still here? How about some fun stuff? I've had enough of this. Uh, Atritnum. Atritnum. Funny word. It's exactly suitable. Like you have a name that's exactly suitable for who you are. An example would be like a dentist named Dr. Toothacher or Dr. Hertz. Uh, Dr. Russell Brain, the neurologist, the poet William Wordsworth, William Headline from CNN. Used to be the bureau chief for a dozen years in D.C. Usain Bolt, the runner, duh. First baseman of baseball, Cecil and Prince Fielder. Can't get any better than that. Cornerback for the Buffalo Bills, Reggie Corner, Thomas Crapper. Though he didn't invent the toilet, he did make improvements to the porcelain throne. Other names that describe occupations is Cooper, that's a barrel maker. Chandler, that's a candle maker. Baxter is a baker. A collier is a coal miner. A crocker is someone who works in pottery or makes pottery. Fletcher, the guy makes bows and arrows. A porter, a guy that watches the door. Ain't, the word ain't, that's not proper English. Well, really? Well, where do you think it comes from? Comes from 18th century England. And it was accepted by all classes as the joint am not. And finally, where does the word madcap come from? In the 1500s, cap meant someone's head. Mad, of course, meant crazy. So madcap meant someone or something that's silly or reckless. Well, that's history. It's all in the past. I'll see you tomorrow when we talk about today, if you make it. See you.